Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Inside Track, Equibase's weekly handicapping podcast, sponsored by FanDuel Racing, where we give our analysis, picks, and wagers for a couple of the weekend's top races. I'm your host, Ben Kudla, and today I welcome back Equibase's national racing analyst with decades of handicapping experience and a very insightful guest on the show. Old Ellis Starr is back. So, Ellis, you haven't been on since mid-March, I guess, with NHC. Congratulations on 34th place. That's incredible. And, I just want to know, what was your NHC experience like? What kind of strategy did you use to get into the semifinal, and how horse players can get involved in tournament play? I feel like when you and I were out there at NHC, it was like all these stories of people who handicap and gamble for decades, and they just kind of finally start tournament play, and they're actually pretty good at it. So if you could explain how people can get involved in that as well, that'd be great.
Well, it's a great experience. And, of the 623 people, I think, were 800 entries, because there were about 170 that had double qualified. I was one of them. Of the 623, there were a lot of people there for the first or second time. Of course, I've been going for years supporting Racelands, but it was my third time having qualified, second double qualify. And it does run the gamut of people that are just doing it for the first time. People have done it for years in terms of playing in the handicapping tour, which is all year long. But for basic people that want to get involved, you can go to horse tourneys, to horse players, and play in some qualifiers. You can sign up for $50 is all, and play, sign up for the NHC tour. There are three or four free contests a year, but there's lots. Most local tracks have them. I know Monmouth runs a bunch. Keeneland runs a few. Other tracks have them where you can play for a couple $100 of real money, or you play in the ones that are $2 win place, and you get scores based on that as well. And it's a ton of fun. Like I say, it's just a lot of excitement the first 2 days, getting down from 800 entries to the 10% that get to play in the semifinal. And as you mentioned, I was lucky enough to make that cut. It was pretty good. I had a decent first day. A goal was about $100. Had $80 after the first day in terms of score. Second day, I scored 120, so I was sitting about 30th. The top 10 people that make the final table kind of got away, and the scores are cumulative. But I entered the semifinal, which consists of 10 races on Sunday morning, in a decent shot. Needed about $30 to make the top 10, I think, something like that. I had 120 and maybe $35. But those races have some short fields, and they're lower class races. I ended up with one winner in 5 seconds on Sunday, so I can't complain. I went back 4 spots, $2 and change from where I started at 30th, but certainly a great experience. And, all 80 people cashed at least $10,000 or more. Of course, that's, really top heavy. The winner got $825,000, a great guy, a Racelands user named Mike Piazza, who's a great guy, second great winner in a row. I mean, all great winners, but I come to know both of them, and they're really, really nice gentlemen, handicappers. I think everybody there has got a lot of camaraderie. Nobody, a lot of ribbing, but nothing's significant, and everybody's pulling for everybody else. And certainly
that was one of the coolest things being at NHC, seeing that how people, yes, they're competing against each other, but they're happy when others win. And you're right, Dan Piazza, what an incredibly kind guy, incredibly intelligent. He's actually on the Inside Track a couple weeks ago. One of my favorite things he said was, the best part about this tournament play is you can go on the weekends, you can go play 25 races. It just costs you the entry fee. You don't have to lose every race if, or bet real money. But I encourage everyone out there to try tournaments. But let's move on to this fantastic show. Another weekend of great racing ahead as we're in the heart of the Keeneland Spring Meet. 7 graded stakes races on the schedule this week across North America, including Torpedo Annie the Grizzly is back, entered in the Grade 1 Apple Blossom Handicap at Oaklawn on Saturday. But today's show is all things Keeneland. So we've got the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile Stakes on Friday, and the Grade 3 Lexington Stakes and Grade 1 Jenny Wiley Stakes on Saturday. Plus, Ellis and I will be putting together a little daily double ticket. So let's just dive right into the $650,000 Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile this Friday at Keeneland. 1 mile on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. Last year's winner was Master of the Seas for trainer Charlie Appleby, with William Buick aboard over stablemate Naval Power, Great Britain, who finished second. Loaded field of 9 here at Keeneland on Friday. Ellis, who'd you land on?
Yeah, there's no European imports this year, which is going to be different when we talk about Jenny Wiley. And Carl Spackler, who won the equivalent of this race in the fall, which is the Coolmore Turf Mile is back. After the Coolmore Turf Mile, he was well regarded at 3-1 in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He raced up close, but didn't have the late kick of More Than Looks or Johannes, but ran 6, beaten 3 lengths. It was okay. Coming back, there's never a concern. There could be a concern about coming back from 5 months off, but he fired last year from September of 23 to May of 24 to win at a mile at Churchill in the opening verse, and that was a pretty good field as well. So there's no doubt that Chad Brown can have him ready to run, and his best race is good enough to win, no question about it. That was the Coolmore Turf Mile was his 3rd in a row. He is what we call a miler. So when you look at the horse's record distance and you see how many miles they've run on the turf and how they've run, he's 6 for 8. So in this field, the turf miler, that is his forte. And Tyler Gaffalione, of course, out with an injury. Flavian Pratt, admirable replacement, no question. Carl Spackler can get the last quarter in 22-5. He does get not as much speed as usual, but he's a legitimate favorite. He's 9-5 on the morning line. I don't think he will be, and that's one of the reasons why my other contender is going to be a nice price to use with exactas as well as trifectas. That's going to be the outside the 9 Seminole Chief. And I just checked the morning line, and I'm more than happy to see he's 20-1. A newly turned 4-year-old, even though we're now in April, but a horse that's also likes to win. 5 for 9 in his career. He's 2 for 3 on the grass. What's interesting is his first 6 races were all dirt and 1 all weather, which was the off turf race. He did win that, so that kind of showed trainer Jack Sisterson that the horse might like the grass. And they put him on the grass finally in January. He ran 3rd and then had 2 nice wins. That last win came in the Appleton Stakes. It's not a great stakes, but it's a really nice race, and you got a 110 Equibase speed figure. Now, when you compare that, we're looking at a horse like Carl Spackler, who we know won the Coolmore Turf Mile. He got a 113. So Seminole Chief is 1 year younger, improving, and just 3 Equibase speed figure points off what Carl Spackler earned in the Turf Mile. So he's definitely a contender here. Red Hot Dylan Davis rode him for the first time, riding him back, and 20-1 is fantastic. So for me, I'm going to be betting Seminole Chief to win, playing an exacta box of Seminole Chief and Carl Spackler. And in a race like this, Ben, where I've got a long shot, I'm going to play everybody in second, but not in the exacta and trifecta. So my ticket's going to be 6-9 Carl Spackler and Seminole Chief overall over 6-9. And that's only about a $7 ticket at the 50-cent minimum. That way, if somebody else splits these two, we'll still make some money. But I think Seminole Chief and Carl Spackler lead the field here.
Well, you brought up some great points, and I'm very happy you brought up Seminole Chief because I thought that 20-1 was an absolute gift. I mean, like you said, Sisterson finally puts him on turf and 3 triple-digit Equibase speed figures in a row. So 20-1, definitely going to add that horse in there. But my top play, I did go with Integration, the one here with a morning line of 3-1, a 5-year-old by Quality Road for the Shug McGahee barn with Frankie Dettori aboard. The fastest of this group here with the highest Equibase speed figure earned in this race, as well as the best average speed in the race with the 110 ESF average. Took a very similar road to the Maker's Mark Mile last year, running in the Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational before running in the Maker's Mark Mile. Last year, he finished 5th by 1 3/4 lengths in the Pegasus World Cup Turf, and then came back to run 3rd in the Maker's Mark Mile. So last year, after the Maker's Mark, comes back, he runs 4th by just a couple lengths in the Grade 1 Turf Classic Stakes at Churchill in May, then runs off by 6.5 lengths in the Million Preview Stakes at Colonial, runs 2nd in the Grade 1 Arlington Million at Colonial Downs to Nation's Pride, runs 4th at Kentucky Downs, but I think those races, are kind of easy to throw out, horses for courses type track. But then takes a couple-month layoff to come back to win the Grade 2 Red Smith Stakes at Aqueduct, running a 113 Equibase speed figure. And this year, like I said, he's back on the same path as last year, finished 2nd by just a neck in that Pegasus World Cup Turf at Gulfstream last time out, earning an incredible 120 Equibase speed figure. So I do want to watch this replay because it is just really, really impressive. Let me get this pulled up right now. Ellis, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So Integration will be the Green Silks here, the 5 on the outside of Win for the Money.
Back is Fort Washington.
And here they come just in the final turn going into the lane. Makes just a brilliant move here. There he is in the green cap. Okay. And you on the outside, Spirit of St. Louis will end up catching him. But I just thought just ran a brilliant race. Just caught the wire going a mile and 1/8. So this turn back in distance could be just what he needs. But there it is, and just a neck in front. But I thought he still finished very, very well. It was an impressive race, nonetheless. He just made a great move in the lane going in the 3 path, and every horse was swarming him. But integration, he's able to fend them off and just narrowly caught. So improving Equibase speed figures. The last couple starts took a little layoff after that 120 Equibase speed figure performance. I think the stars are aligning for integration here. Been working really well down at Payson Park, throwing 3 bullets in his last 4 works. He's ranked second in late pace rating here with a 116 and second in average class. I think 3-1's fair. We'll see what Carl Spackler ends up going off at, but I feel like 9-5 is about what he'll be, maybe 1-1, maybe a little bit more. But I'm going to go integration on top of Carl Spackler and Seminole Chief for my little exacta there. But here you have your grade 1 Maker's Mark mile. And now we're going to get into this daily double. So 400,000 grade 3 Lexington Stakes this Saturday at Keeneland, the final Kentucky Derby prep of the year, worth 20 points. However, it does not really matter much, as any horse would not be better than 29th on the list if they did win. But anyway, the Lexington Stakes, a mile and the 16th on the dirt for 3-year-olds. Last year's winner was Encino for trainer Brad Cox. That was his 3rd Lexington Stakes win in a row. Encino went on a scratch out of last year's Kentucky Derby. Field of 9 trying for some of these points here, but it kind of seems to be like a wide open event. Regardless, fantastic race. So who is your top play in here, Ellis?
So first of all, I mentioned it before. People that don't know, it's actually going to be field of 7 because Rolando and Touchy both ran in the Lafayette Stakes earlier this week. So I doubt they're going to run back on 3 days rest, even though if the stewards allow it, they might. But I don't think that will happen. It's the field of 7. And as you mentioned, there's no Derby points, but still $400,000, $240,000 the winner. So it is important. And this could be a prep for the Preakness is just 5 weeks away. So the horses that runs well here might be fresh for the Preakness, as we know, and very few horses coming out of the Derby come back in the Preakness. So we got a good shot here. I want to talk about quick the 7 Prater, who I'm taking a stand against. And if you've got him, no knocks if you've got him. But Prater has won 2 in a row. He's trained by Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. He won a first level allowance with an 88 Equibase speed figure, pulled away by 7 lengths, and that's going to be impressive for people that want to bet him a lot. However, that was a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream on March 9th. Number 6, Gosker, ran a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream on February 15th, 3 weeks earlier, and ran a lot faster. He ran a 94 Equibase speed figure, winning by a length and a half. Not only that, but that turned out to be a key race. For those who don't know, a key race is a race that's productive in horses that come back. It's so key that the second horse, Pitkin, just ran 4th the other day, but not beaten much. However, the third horse ran 3rd. The 4th horse ran 2nd. The 6th and 7th have both won their next starts, and all of them improved their Equibase speed figures, which is one of the things that Racelens points out to me. He gets Irad Ortiz Jr., no knock on Edgar Zayas, who rode here the other day, but Irad Ortiz Jr. gets on for this horse. And that 94 figure is really good. By the way, I forgot to mention this to you yesterday when we were together at Keeneland, but Gosker is a half brother to Harvey's Little Goyle, who won about $800,000 and was a really good horse. So
You're the king of those, finding those halves out of nowhere. You were always bringing that up.
I love those halves. Yeah, I know. And one of my friends tells me that Babe Ruth had a brother that wasn't a good baseball player. So stop doing it. But I don't listen to him. But anyway, Gosker ran the fastest last race in the field, a 1-turn mile. He's going to get 2 turns. He's Nyquist out of a Tappet mare. No question about it. Since I'm taking a stand against Prater, I like the McPeak pair of Native Runner and Hypnus. I think they'll be lower odds than 15-1 and 6-1 because of the scratches. But Native Runner gets Jose Ortiz back, rode him for the first time, and it was an optional claiming race. But boy, he ran the best race of his life with a 93 figure, just slightly slower than Gosker, and it was a 2-turn race at Fairgrounds. And then Hypnus will be replaced by Luis Saez, who got injured the other day, but he adds blinkers off of Port Louisiana Derby. Kenny McPeak won this race in 2017 with senior investment off a 6th place finish in Louisiana Derby. How's that for an identical pattern, Ben? 6th place to win this race. 8 years ago. He might do it again. He put in a big work at Churchill the other day, best of 45, and his debut at a mile 16th was solid with a 92 Equibase speed figure. So I'm going to use all three in the exotics, 5, 6, and 8. I'm going to make a win bet on Gosker, maybe a smaller win bet on one of the other two if the odds are good. And then there's my daily double, number 6 Gosker, only in this race with 2 horses in the Jenny Wiley.
I love it. I love it. I can't knock you on that. I took a look at that horse, but I just didn't think he had enough experience. I went with Bullard in here, morning line of 9-2. I don't know if we'll get that, but Gunrunner Colt out of a Warriors Reward Dam, making the trip from Cali, where Ellis was born, by the way, for all you don't know.
But I'm a Kentuckian, sir. I'm a Kentuckian, sir. Thank you.
He's a Kentucky boy now, yes, but originally he was was born out there. But anyway, Bullard is trained by Michael McCarthy with Umberto Rispoli aboard, taking the trip from Cali. He has 3 mounts scheduled on Saturday at Keeneland. Bullard started his 2-year-old campaign strong, winning a maiden special weight by length and a quarter, career debut, earning an 87 at Del Mar over Kalia Bay, who actually came back to win her next start by 8.5 lengths in a maiden special weight at Santa Anita. Bullard comes back to romp by 3.5 lengths in the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes, earning a 99 Equibase speed figure, beating Matticat Road and McKenzie Street. Really impressive race. He was last going in that final turn. Yes, it was a 5-horse field, I believe, but he just reeled in rivals with every stride, swung 3 wide, and then just took off right when he got next to McKenzie Street in the lane. Ran third last time out by 6 lengths to Barnes in the Grade 2 San Vicente Stakes at Santa Anita, January 4th. He made a similar move at the top of the stretch, same as the Bob Hope. However, Barnes was just too good that day. But I do respect how Bullard finished and did not give up. Repeating a 99 Equibase speed figure is very hard, especially as a fresh 3-year-old, 4-day-old 3-year-old. So he might have just needed that race. He was a stake scratch from the Grade 2 Rebel as well at the end of February, so maybe they just realized he needed more time. The Derby's not it, and decided to target the Lexington instead. But McCarthy and Rispoli are a powerhouse team in graded stakes nonetheless. Past 3 years, they win at 26% together. In all graded stakes races, 9 wins from 34 starts and 50% in the money. In the past 5 years at Keeneland, it doesn't come here a lot, but McCarthy does have a positive 21% return on investments in dirt routes and wins at 20% clip. 5 wins from 25 starts. So definitely a question mark. First time, 2 turns. I think this horse has a ton of potential that we've yet to see, and 9-2 would be a great price for me. I also am going to add the 7 in Priator, 2-1. I think that's very short for him, but regardless, Into Mischief Colt out of a Keeneland Dam for Chad Brown with Flavian Pratt aboard. Brown and Pratt in graded stakes races together. Enough said. Past year, they went at 34% together on graded stakes races and dirt routes. 19 wins from 56 starts, 63% in the money with a positive 33% ROI. But going on Priator, he did lose on career debut, finishing third by 7 3/4 lengths on a muddy Saratoga track, but he came back to beat Sovereignty. He beat Sovereignty by a neck. I mean, it just, that horse is the real deal. And Sovereignty came back to break his maiden by 5 lengths in the Grade 3 Street Sense. Then he won the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth in a brilliant stretch run. He ran second in the Florida Derby. I don't even think he needed it to win. And, so Priator instead goes for kind of a modest route and goes to an allowance optional claiming at Gulfstream, where he's ridden out to win by 7.5 lengths. And now we get to see him come back. Race lens angle for you. Flavian Pratt, when reunited with a horse he's previously won on, wins at 32% in the past 2 years from 53 starts with a plus 24% ROI. I just had to add this horse on my daily double ticket just because of beating Sovereignty. I think that's just kind of a logical play, but I do think Bullard will win, and that is my top play. And let's move on to the Jenny Wiley Stakes, Grade 1, 650,000 this Saturday at Keeneland. 1 mile and 16th on the turf for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. Last year's winner was Butte Cachet for trainer Chad Brown with Frankie Dettori aboard. Chad Brown has won the Jenny Wiley 7 out of the last 10 years, including the last 3 consecutive years. Brown has the morning line 5-2 favorite Excellent Truth entered this year. Another field of 9 on Saturday, with 7 of those 9 entries being bred overseas. So, Ellis, who is your play in here?
Oh, I didn't even know the Brown stat. Thank you. It makes it even better. So Excellent Truth is a monster, in my opinion. I think could be. Um, it's interesting, as we talked about the Maker's Mark Mile, there really aren't any Euros here. There's 3 coming in. They don't get Lasix. They're here just for this race, the group grade 1 race. And for those that don't know, European class is better than American class because of the company they keep. So as I wrote in an article about this race, group 3 is grade 2, group 2 is grade 1, and group 1 is better than grade 1. Excellent Truth comes out of the grade 1 pre-Rothschild, I should say Rothschild, which was run last July. And the horse that beat her by a length is, I forgot what it's called, Mesque de Savine, which is a really good horse who has won 8 of 18 with 6 seconds and 5 Group 1 races. Also behind Excellent Truth in that race is a filly named Blue Rose Sen, who's running the Breeders' Cup. She's won 1.7 million, 8 of 17, 4 Group 1s. This horse was purchased by Resolute Racing for 1.7 million last December, sent to Chad to prepare, probably just pointing for this race with a mind towards the Breeders' Cup filly Mere Turf. The Equibase speed figure is 123. That Group 1 race to hours over this field here, and I think she's the real deal. So legitimate favorite here. One of the other Europeans is Jabara the 6 for Godolphin. Coming in, Roger Varian, world-class trainer, still named as trainer. I'm not sure who's saddling, but probably Brendan Walsh. Another really nice filly. She's been off since July through March, so she's not coming back from the layoff. With Excellent Truth, Chad Brown's fine with horses coming off the layoff. But Jabara took a layoff and came back in a all-weather race, a little stakes, March 8th. I think it was just to get ready. And she was impeded in that race. She was sent to post as a 9-5 favorite and impeded, got beaten 2 lengths before that, running against some really good horses. Rakia, who's 5 for 9 with 2 Group 3 wins. And then she got beat by Porter Fortuna, who's running the States. She's 7 for 12, 1.6 million, 4 Group 1s. I think we do have that Excellent Truth race.
Yes, absolutely.
So while we're talking real quick, Excellent Truth 5-2. I expect 9-5 or so. Jabara 9-2. My plays are Excellent Truth and Jabara overall in the exacta. You'll see here on the green, on the rail, picking up here in this race. You can see it. She's on the rail, and I love the announcer here. If you want to turn on the volume.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah,
has not picked up yet, and Marquise de Sevigné has moved her in the centre of the course to take it up from Rogue Millennium. Excellent Truth running a blinder on the stand side, further back Ocean Jewel, but it's Marquise de Sevigné. Excellent Truth is in second place, but Marquise de Sevigné has won the Rothschild for the.
So he goes on to say that was the second time that Misk horse won that
Marquise de Sevigné. But Excellent Truth was making up ground in that race, and certainly a horse like Marquise de Sevigné would be 1-5 in a race like this, as would be Blue Rose Sen. So just an incredible turn of foot, and I think she looks legit. When people say you can find some of those French and European races just using Google and YouTube sometimes, and I was able to find that race. So 6-9 overall, and then we'll see about making it. I'm not 6-9, 1-6 overall is my exact. I'll hopefully get somebody nice in second. Just take a shot, even though I will probably box 1-6 as well. And those are my 2 in the Jenny Wiley.
Ellis, it's kind of weird because you and I usually don't differ this much, but we're opposite on this. Yeah. I do like Excellent Truth. I'll point that out. Okay, the horse looks like a monster. Okay, but I just can't do that at 5-2, and I think he'll probably end up being shorter. With Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. But I'm going to try to find some value. So over the past 5 years, horses who have made their first career start in North America at Keeneland win at just 12% from 145 starts. So I'm going to try to find some value stateside. And the only millionaire in the group is an 8-1 morning line Sacred Wish. 5-year-old mare by Not This Time out of an Indian Charlie Dam. The George Weaver barn with John Velasquez aboard. Just very consistent mare who always shows up to run. Has not finished worse than 4th since August of 2023 in the Grade 1 Alabama Stakes, where she hit the gate and stumbled bad, so you can kind of cross that one off. After that, she's always been right there with insane quick turn of foot, almost like an electric golf cart. I mean, last July finished second by neck to Butte Cash, last year's Jenny Wiley winner in the Grade 3 Matchmaker Stakes. Then runs second in the Grade 3 Ladies Turf at Kentucky Downs. Say what you want about Kentucky Downs. Runs third in the Grade 3 Gold-Cova at Del Mar in Breeders' Cup weekend. Comes back to win the Grade 1 Matriarch Stakes at Del Mar in December, beating multiple Grade 1 winner Gino Romantica. A thrilling finish. Please go back and watch that. The fact that she was able to fend her off is just wow. He's in the perfect spot. Johnny put her in the perfect spot on the rail, swung to the 2-path, took over the race, but charging Gina Romantica was not able to pass. And she comes back at the end of January, repeats kind of the same thing, earns a 108 Equibase speed figure for a runner-up finish by neck to Be Your Best in the Grade 2 Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mare Turf last time out. She was gaining on every single stride, and Be Your Best was saved by the wire. I guess Filly is just so impressive to watch on the last furlong of the race. And with that turn of foot comes the best late pace rating in the race in here of a 114, which I think is incredibly important. 8-1, I feel like, is a gift. So I'm going to go ahead and just single. But if you have some money, I would add Excellent Truth in your daily double ticket. but regardless, I'm going to single Sacred Wish. So that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Ellis, for being on. Good luck to everybody in all of your wagers this weekend, and we'll see you next week.